Welcome to what I believe will be the final episode of this particular painting of On the Spot. So we'll continue more on other projects, of course. Um, Sometimes it's like knowing when you're about finished with a painting. That's actually a good thing to understand. When you're an artist, you feel like, okay, this is almost done. This is it's a good sign. It's a good thing if you you have to take into account when you know when you're done with your painting. So that's what I'm. So I would say I'm really at the very close to being done. I was just looking at it, before I started painting, and I just realized that there isn't a whole lot. I mean, I'm sure there's always something you could do to make the painting even more. But in regards to this one, I think we're about ready to be, finished on this one. I just want to thank anybody who's joining me and subscribed to my channel just recently. Maybe you just came across my videos and just wondered what am I painting actually. So this is a surreal painting. It's surreal means kind of not really realistic, but then it has this surreal quality. I should look up in the dictionary surreal, but I did actually, and I just totally went blank on what the definition was. But basically something that's just it looks kind of real, but then it has a strangeness to it. It has a sort of a surreal aspect. That's kind of it's obviously fantasy, it's obviously a little bit of fiction, but you have a sense of realism in there, a little bit of bringing in some elements that are almost like real life, but yet altered in some ways. Well, anyway, look up surreal. I looked it up and I totally went blank on what the definition was at the time, so sorry about that. I'm going to get better at, especially if I'm telling you something in facts or something like that, or in words. I want to make sure I'm correct on that. That's all. I don't want to be. Some people play music by ear or whatever. They see the music or they just hear the music and they could figure it out, and that's how they become an artist and a musician. And I'm not trying to say that this is what I become, but I feel like in some ways maybe I have done this with my art, because a lot of the things the techniques or things that you would learn in school, the terminologies and all this stuff, some people say, well, how'd you do that? And honestly, I feel like you feel like I've taught myself a lot of those things, even though that maybe I do try to learn from inspiration to be taught. But a lot of it is teaching myself and how to do this, certain things. And you could do that too. So let's say you don't have a teacher right with you, but maybe you have somebody there that could give you instruction or give you advice how to go about something, and that's learning too. We're all learning. And I was just thinking, before I started this painting, I was thinking, with every painting I draw, I get sort of an excitement about it. I feel like, wow, I'm gonna paint. And then, that hasn't really changed in some ways in all the years I've painted. I mean, there is that sense of excitement. That sense of anticipation of what you can actually create and draw. And there's an excitement about it. And I still, sometimes I may forget. I may forget that excitement in some ways, but when I started this painting, I just, or even when I thought about painting this today, I just got that tonight. I felt that same excitement, that kind of, wow, I'm going to work on a painting today. I don't know if you've experienced that as an artist yourself, but I really hope you have or you do. I mean, because that's, it doesn't matter who you're painting it for. This isn't really, this particular painting is not really going to a person or a particular thing. It's my own painting. This is, yeah, so like I said, I'm bringing it to a close tonight because I really don't think there's a whole lot that could be done. I mean, we've already added this particular detail, and on here, that's where my main, focal point was going to be. So right now, basically, I'm just sort of filling in the areas here. But leaving it kind of open right here is kind of neat because it's just, you may not be doing anything particularly, but sometimes just having that open space there is actually very important, as important as having a lot of detail. This open ground, this world I'm creating, so. And sometimes, I don't know if you feel, maybe you feel like I do or something, you have to feel like you gotta fill in every little space, every little detail has to be filled up, every little, and actually no, it doesn't have to be, that's, I don't know where we get that idea that it has to be that way. Especially the watercolors, you can leave the white of the paper. You can leave some elements of like the sky here. I just want to leave it, just, you just want to kind of let it be white in that part, in that sense of the white of the paper. You want to let it. You don't have to keep adding more detail. I think we're just so. I think it might start from when we're maybe we're in school as a child or something, and you just feel like you got to color in every little detail. You got to color in, you got to color it in, and and it feels like you just really have to get every detail in, and sometimes you really don't. You don't have to add every detail. You don't have to add all that. Especially this painting here. I mean, I'm doing it till I feel like I'm done. But then also sometimes I come back and I go, I realize I could have done a little more detail to, especially if there's mountains here. It looks kind of weird if I just left it, not finished in that regards. So I'm gonna kind of finish this here. Yeah, so I'm really basically done. I don't mean to make this such a shorter video. I just wanted to close up the series of this one particular painting, not the series. I'm still continuing the painting. I don't want to, say that I'm done with this, you know, series of artwork, but I'm particularly done with this painting here. So, and I could obviously add more detail. You could add more detail. I could go with more lines, more, adding more stuff. But for the sake of interest and anybody watching, um, there isn't really much else I could do further to this painting. I feel like it's kind of it's it's there. It's what it is, and I'm pretty happy with it. I could probably add a little more details. I could add a little more. Uh, so I'm kind of looking at it right now. I'm thinking, yeah, I could add something right here to this. Yeah, it's kind of. Sometimes you can just overwork a painting, and just want to try to tell you to be kind of cautious of that. To say you're done. You just kind of learn how to say this is complete. And a lot of times we may, as artists, we've probably done it so many times. I've done it so many times, to be honest. I just learned to say I got to put down the paintbrush. I got to just stop. And sometimes you just take a break. Just take a little break and say, okay, are you really complete? Well, if you don't feel like you are, put down the paints and paintbrush and kind of step aside for a while. Step aside for an hour or two and come back to it and look at it and go, and then you can kind of make a decision from there. But I feel like it's complete. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's really my vision. What I wanted it to come out to be is really there. Even though you caught me in the middle of doing this particular painting, you didn't see how it all started, but you kind of seen how it continued, and it's amazing. Art is fun. Art is exciting. You could just how you can create your own world, and I just hope that you will, take time to just create your own artwork, whatever it may be. It could be watercolor like this, or it could be, like I mentioned before, you could do oil, pastels, whatever medium you're in. You might be even a sculptor, or you might do music or dance or whatever it is. But you're still creating something, and you're stay inspired, stay encouraged to do it. And sometimes when you work through a painting, uh, I like to think you're working through your situation in your life. A lot of times that's what goes on with me. I'm just like, there's something going on, or there's a major event that's happened, or a major, maybe in your mind, maybe it really is a tragedy in your mind, or what's happened in the world, or what's happened in your personal life, or to somebody or you lost somebody, um, and you paint, and you kind of cope with it. You take those paintbrushes, and those strokes are just more than just the strokes on the paper. Those things are actually your emotions onto the page, uh, your feelings, even though other people don't know that, and they could never really know. I mean, honestly, as an artist, you just draw and you paint and you create, and you're wondering if can somebody else see or feel what I'm feeling at this moment, and maybe not. Maybe they can, and hopefully they can. And I think you truly, if you do that, come across, then you truly are doing what it's supposed to be. You're creating the artwork. So sorry for me just um, talking away here. But thank you for joining me on the spot. I hope that you stay encouraged, stay drawing. If you haven't, you may be just viewing this video for the first time, or I might have sent you you might be a person that follows me on Instagram, and I sent you a link to it. You may be wondering, what is this? Who? And I encourage you to follow back on the other videos, especially this one. You know, it's a few episodes ago, probably 5 or 6 episodes ago when I started this one. Can't remember exactly what episode it was. So we're on. So I think I just did 25. So we're on 26. So it must have been around 20 or so. I think I started this before that, but I started this particular painting. So again, so look forward to doing another painting. I'm not sure exactly what. We'll find out, and it'll be exciting. All right. Well, thank you for joining me on the spot, and I hope you have a good night.